Hello, this is Robbie Mitchell here from Head in the Cloud Development. I'm here to talk about something totally new that we've never done before. I've decided to try going open source with one of the NetSuite modules we sell. In other words, we're posting it on GitHub and letting users have it for free in the hopes that people will contribute to the code and help improve the module over time. I'm really excited to see where this goes, and who knows, maybe we can do this with our other products as well in the future. For the record, I'm recording this using version 3.0 of the Mass Emailer module on NetSuite version 2022.1. So here's what we're going to talk about in this video. First, what is the purpose of this module? It's meant to solve a very simple problem. In standard NetSuite, it's not very easy to send an email to multiple recipients. For example, maybe you want to send an email blast out to all your employees, or maybe you want to send an email to all your customers who have a certain product of yours. This bundle makes doing that sort of thing very easy. Now don't worry, if free software isn't your thing and you really want to pay for this module instead, I am still willing to sell it to you in the normal supported bundle form. So second, I'm going to show you briefly how you can still get the regular paid version of this module, for those of you that just want something that works right now. But for the rest of us, I'm going to show you how to download the source code for this module and implement it in your NetSuite using VS Code and the SDF extension for it. So first, let me quickly show you what this module is and how you can use it now. So I've just logged into one of my NetSuite demo accounts. And again, this first step is for anyone who's not interested in the source code and you'd rather have the paid bundle version. So to find it, if you go to Customization, Suite Bundler, Search and Install Bundles, here just type in Mass Email Sender and push Enter. And here, the one you want is 347268. So you can click here and install the bundle. And this version works for free for 30 days, but then requires a license after that. So now let's briefly talk about what this bundle does, whether you have the free version or the paid version. After you install the bundle, you'll have a shortcut under Lists, Custom, HITC Mass Emailer Suitelet. The interface is very simple and has all the same components you're used to seeing when composing an email. You can select an email template to use, or you can just hand enter a message manually. For now, I'm just going to type something in myself. You can attach a transaction here if you want to. Now the interesting part, let's look at how we can select recipients. There are 4 sublists here. So if you want, you can manually select who to send this to. You can send it to a combination of contacts, employees, partners, and/or customers. But that's a lot of work if you want to send it to very many people. So alternatively, and probably preferably, you can use a saved search. Now when you do this, you might want to think about how many recipients you expect your search to come up with. We have this populate list checkbox here. If you want to see the recipients from your search show up on the screen here, then you can click this box. But I don't recommend clicking this if your search is going to have more than a couple hundred results, as having that many lines on these lists can slow down the browser performance quite a bit. So I've picked my Robbie Test Employee search here, and when the search comes up, the default behavior is for it to send the email to each one of the results. But let's say you're doing a customer search and you actually want to send the email to the primary contact from each customer. If that was the case, you would select contact here in result type and then put in the column ID of the column that has the reference to the contact you want to send it to. And if you're going to be sending subscription-related emails, then you can include unsubscribe links in your templates and tell NetSuite which subscription your email should be associated with. Also, I'll mention that this process does respect NetSuite's bounced emails list. In other words, if anyone in your list has had a recent bounce, it'll skip trying to send it to them again here. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and submit this. And when you submit, you'll end up on this mass email task record. This shows you the status of your task, as well as the data behind your request. So if you refresh this, I can see that the status is now complete. And it says it has sent 6 emails. Now, if you want to see proof that your emails are sent, the easiest way is usually just to look at the employee record of the author. Then on the Communications tab, we'll see the emails that were just sent. If you want to see more detail, you can also do a saved search on the messages to see the emails. And that's really about it for what this module does out of the box. Setting it up is super easy. It literally requires zero configuration. Okay, so now what you've been waiting for. This is GitHub, where the world builds software. Here, if you just search for HITC NetSuite, you'll find our mass emailer. And from here, if you just want to get the code and try it out, then under this code button, you can click Download Zip. Now next, if you haven't already, like I haven't, we need to download the VS Code editor. Now this is a free code editor by Microsoft. So download the version that's right for your computer. Again, just to clarify, the website for VS Code is https://code.visualstudio.com/download. Once it's finished downloading, we'll go ahead and install it, which for me just means dragging the application over here. Now, I'll also mention that if you're going to be editing and compiling the code, you'll also want to download and install Node.js from nodejs.org here, and I recommend the version 16 long-term support version. So once you have those installed, go ahead and start up VS Code. Now the first thing we need to do is install the NetSuite SDF extension. So here's the extensions menu. Now before we get ahead of ourselves, let's actually go to the NetSuite help and find the section that pertains to what we're doing. So here in the NetSuite help menu is where we have the SuiteCloud extension for Visual Studio Code. And we'll go to installing it. And so it says we just need to enter SuiteCloud extension here. So if I just start typing in SuiteCloud, here it is, there's just one result. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. Okay, that is done. It literally took about 5 seconds. So once that's installed, let's go ahead and open the folder of code that we downloaded. So it came in a zip file. So I'm just going to unzip that, and I'm just going to open that folder directly in VS Code. Make this a bit bigger. Okay, so here's the code for the mass emailer module. Let's open up these folders and we'll talk about what we have here. Let's look at the TypeScripts folder first. At Head in the Cloud Development, we write code in TypeScript, and so these are the 4 script files that this module uses. Next up is the Objects folder. This is where we have the custom status list, the custom record definition, and the script definitions. Finally, up in the file cabinet, this is where the compiled JavaScript code goes once you compile these TypeScript files. So now let's talk about how to get this module loaded into NetSuite. VS Code uses an intelligent command line interface for the SDF extension. I'll be honest, I like the WebStorm interface much more, but VS Code is free, so that's nice. But let's again reference the help section in NetSuite for what we're doing here. We'll go to VS Code usage here. And let's say setting up NetSuite accounts, because that's the first thing we need to do. So here it talks about the command palette. So that's what we need to do. So let me show you how that works. So in VS Code, let's go to View, Command Palette. And here, if you just start typing in SuiteCloud, you'll see all the NetSuite related commands you have here. So the first thing we need to do is add our account so that we can authenticate to it. So let's do setup account. Now on this first little prompt, you probably want to select new authentication ID, or in other words, just press enter. So now we're selecting whether we want to do browser-based authentication or use a token. I'm just going to do browser-based authentication. So I'm going to click on this. This is just something you make up, like HITC QA admin. Now it's asking what the domain is. Just press enter to use the default domain. Okay, now it says continue the authentication process in the browser. So it pops up asking me if that's okay. I'm going to click allow. And so now VS Code says that was successful. So that's great. So now we are connected to the account. Now we should be able to deploy this to our NetSuite account. So again, I'm going to go to View, Command Palette, type in Suite Cloud, and let's just do Deploy Project. So it asks, what do you want to do if the project contains account-specific values? I'm just going to say cancel the process. Probably doesn't matter. So now it's deploying the project. Okay, it says it was deployed successfully. If you do the browser-based authentication, it kicks you out, so you'll have to sign back into NetSuite again. So this is the account that I just deployed it to. And again, the suitelet is right where we'd expect it. This is what we just deployed. So now I'm going to show you briefly what it looks like if you want to make changes to the code here. So if you haven't already done it, you need to run npm install. And this will install the SuiteScript TypeScript modules that we use. Now let's just make a couple of changes to the suitelet file here. Something really simple. Let's change the title of it from mass emailer to bulk email sender. And then also let's look down at line 235. This line makes sure we don't try to send more than 50,000 emails at once. We want to keep the batches of emails relatively small to avoid spam issues. But we have actually had issues recently where even going as high as 50,000 emails causes problems. So sometimes it's helpful to reduce this down to 10 or 20,000 instead. I'm just going to go for 10,000 here. So after I've made my changes, I'm going to save the file. And then we need to recompile it. To recompile it, just open the terminal and type in tsc. And if you get an error saying the command is not found, like I just did, it means you need to install TypeScript globally first. To do that, just type in npm install -g TypeScript. Okay, after that's done, let's try tsc again. That's better, so that means it worked. So after this, we can deploy the project again through the command palette. And now if we go back to NetSuite and just refresh our suitelet, so the title of it has changed just like we did in the code. So this concludes our demo. If you want to contribute anything to improve this module, feel free to submit pull requests on the GitHub repository here. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. And as always, get in touch if you have any questions or feedback. Otherwise, we'll see you at SuiteWorld. Thanks for watching.